Right. So this is at the KPMG building, which is incredibly depressing because it's like, well, it's a public open space, which is rather nice, but it's like a ping pong table and couches. And KPMG's one job is to like, sorry, I'm cold and bread, and also had a massive shit. So the KPMG's one job is to tell everybody to do the executive shit that they're not doing right. Either that or fire a bunch of people, which is more like, making things efficient. But I mean, there's a wonderful public open space at a building that's owned by KPMG, or that's their major tenant. And the only thing I can think of the entire time is, they are outside this. They walk through this shit every day on their way to work. It's like, so this is the building, right? With the public open space that's got KPMG on the way. Like, check this shit out, okay? 555 2nd Street. Oh, wonderful. Okay, cool. Oh, it's really nice in here. I enjoy it. It's wonderful. Oh, okay. Let's see here. Oh, one of the top 5 consulting companies in the world. Okay, that's cool. Oh, all right. Well, let's just walk out the door here. All right, I'm gonna push. Push. Okay. Do. Walk. Walk. Do. Car. Do. Alexander Book Company closed, and it has been for years, and there's nothing here. So. Oh, and there's Sutter Health, where I've been gaslit and drugged with shit that makes me sick. So, KPMG, closed bookstore. It's just like, have you ever seen Tommy Boy, where he's like, I could shit in a box and put a blue ribbon on it and it would be the same? It's just, like, if any one of those assholes quit their job at KPMG and, like, fucking ran a bookstore, the world would be better off. And they're a consulting company. Like, their job is to, like, fix this shit. And what it is the world doesn't need any more managers to, like, tell people what's wrong. Like, I'm powerless. I can do fucking nothing. I'm in a shelter. I'm being gaslit by people who think it's funny to do behavioralism and then surround me with assholes in fucked up cars. Or, like, monitor me through those fucking cameras all over the city. But you have these people who, like, get up in the morning, they put on a suit and tie, they take their badge, they go into work, they go into the office, they order food from takeout, they get a cup of coffee, they sit in front of a computer and they push buttons on a spreadsheet. All of which I like doing, by the way. That's enormous amounts of fun. If you ever get a chance, I highly recommend it. I've worked in a bank before. But I wasn't walking past this sort of shit all the while. Like, I do that and then I go buy a book. And it's like, what? And it's like, well, that's abandoned and that shit's abandoned. Like, are they just play acting? Black and white. Black and white. There's a book. Okay, so I went slight derail. I went to my sister on December 20th of 2023 and I offered her books. I was gassed on the way back to the subway platform with DMT that was mixed in with, this is the place I was drugged with the cafe creamer. So I was gassed with drugs, okay? That was marijuana mixed with DMT. And I passed an Ancient Ways bookstore / witches thing that had a black and white sign. And on the sign it said, I like my candles to be non-toxic. Abandoned. So I figure that the whole black and white thing, whenever you see something in black and white and someone's fucking with you, and then you're gassed with drugs, which I just walked past a bunch of drugs. I figure that that's all, just a way to fuck with somebody. They also like to take all the drugs and do it in, like, these sort of walkways where you have to walk through there or walk in the street, and they'll just drug that area, and then that person's high. It's just a way to, like, drug the thing. to make everybody sick on drugs. But it's just, and the whole, you can't. That's one of the things with cameras, is the cameras can't pick up what type of drug it is, so it's a secret, right? That's how fucked up it is here. Is they're keeping secrets by what drugs people smoke because the cameras are all recording people and where they are and shit like that. Dog. So anyway, KPMG, a bunch of consultants that are and then wearing the bicycle helmet while walking. It's just a way to fuck with somebody. It's like yet another way of that's probably an indication that the drugs I was gassed with were then gassed around somebody who was mentally retarded. And so if I walk around in a circle, I'll be followed by someone who is mentally retarded. Because now I have COVID to them. So that's what that is. It's like, alright, well, cool. It just... I'm eating, so I'm showing you bread because I'm not talking the entire time because my mouth is filled. Let's see. I'm not. So I'm eating. But it's just okay. I mean, if I had I've written about this online. It's there's enough abandoned buildings here that it's a fire. It's an insurance fraud risk. If you burn down the entire city, again, gassed with drugs that they've gassed around a retard, my head now hurts, and then they'll wear retarded clothing around me. So I'm just gonna walk around in a circle until the retard shows up, and then they have somebody hold his hand, and then I'll take a picture of who that is. Well, I'm just gonna walk back and forth across the street. Peter Pan. My name's Peter, and Peter Pan never grew up, etc. So yeah, this is my version of growing up. You just don't like it. So I'm just gonna walk back and forth across the street until people get fucked up and confused. Then I'll record all the license plates of everything around me. But yeah, you have KPMG, which is across from an abandoned store. And then, that's a cop car. And then, you have, all right, so if you have this many abandoned buildings, right? So first of all, check this shit out. You see that? That's a sewer. There's about 1,000 people's worth of apartments down there. Because the sewer system in San Francisco is relatively old. You can live in the sewers. And many people do rather than live in the shelters because the shelters are dangerous. That's how bad it is here. So, if you wanted to set fire to all of San Francisco, collect the insurance money, and then see if you could get away with it, the people that own the buildings would make more money than just having an abandoned building, because it's more profitable to have it burn down than exist like this. Which seems incredibly stupid, but first of all, I don't even know that it's that. I don't know that it ever gets that dry to burn down the city. So that's the first thing. I don't think it's possible. But maybe they're just, here's the other possibility, right? They've done the calculations on when the San Andreas Fault is supposed to go, and they've decided to wait it out because it's worth more money actuarially to have abandoned buildings and then take out insurance and then wait for the San Andreas Fault to go than it is to like put anything here. Because like people who have this much property, first of all, they like money. Like by and large, if somebody has a bunch of shit, like they own things, they like money and they're good with it. It's not that hard to figure out. And they want to make more money. Not everyone does everything for money. It's not a motivating factor for a large number of people. But on the other hand, if you have like shit tons of property, usually what you want to do is maximize your income. So they figure, well, I can make more money sitting on the property than I can doing anything with it. Because the property value will go up. And then I can sell it for more later. Except if everyone does this, and then nothing happens, you just sit on property where the property value of the property is largely fictional. Which is weird because here's the here, license plate. The weird thing about that is that if someone just like, let's suppose you don't own a building, okay? And you wanted to crush the property market here. One of the things you could do is you could have a bunch of guys come together and like bid on property they don't own. And then like provide bank statements saying that they would buy it. If they could. So let's say that somebody wants to sell a property for like $10 million. And you have a bunch of guys come together and you have an open bid. And the top bid is like 9.5. And you do that for every building. Now, you don't own the property and you can't sell it to anybody. But if people are honest about what they're going to bid for it, and there was like some cost, right? Like, you'd have to make it so that like lying about how much you would pay for the building would incur some penalty. That's not that hard to do if you think about it. You could be like, well, like if you go over a certain amount, then you know, it costs so much to bid, and I don't know, there's a way to do it. But let's say you did that with enough people. You could crash the property market because what you would do is you'd give a price of what the value of the property actually is worth. And the property values here are worth fucking nothing. They're just filled with people not willing to sell. But once people figure out that the property value isn't worth anything, then you'll have a firestorm of people wanting to get out faster and sell immediately. That's my theory. The thing with that is that most times people figure out what the property value is by selling it, right? You figure out what the property of a company is. Bus. You figure out what the property of the property value of a building is by having someone sell it, and then you extrapolate. But if no one sells, then you have no idea what the property value is. Except, on the other hand, if you figure out an auction method where you can auction off buildings you don't own. Now, the thing with auction theory is that auction theory has been around since as long as there's been money, right? So it's not that hard to figure out how to do that. Oh, I was just gassed with drugs, and then some dipshit walked past this asshole with the bear shirt on, walked past right by the Pete's Coffee House over there. So if you go past the construction, the drugs they gassed me with and then the bear shirt was to indicate that I was drugged with something that was like something a sick child had. So they'll get a sick child to do drugs. And I'm talking like a 5-year-old, like a physical 5-year-old who has COVID or something. They'll inhale it into someone who then will pass it on to me, and then that person will then do antibiotics. And this is while I don't have access to antibiotics, and the hospital system is corrupt. And again, I'm just playing devil's advocate with like what I would think a reasonable person would say to that, which is bullshit. But It's like, dude, I've been here for 3 years and I've been gassed with drugs and then had people walk around with teddy bear shirts and like, I'll have someone, and then, so that's one way of making me sick, right? The other way is to like, take the cafe creamer. Yeah. Take the cafe creamer in the cafes and stick in it and then have someone walk past with like the light bulb out on their car. So the other one is there's like an area where you have to breathe in the smoke because of the construction and how that works and how the construction is made. You have to walk past an area with drugs. And then the drugs that someone has in their body will physically make you ill. And then it'll have someone walk past with a bear shirt. And then the bear is like, I don't know, maybe that's an Ewok reference from Star Wars or something, but it physically makes you sick with something that's, I believe it's some sort of virus or bacteria, which can be cured with an antibiotic called trimethoprim. And that works so long as you have access to that antibiotic, okay? But if you keep sickening someone with it and they're poor and they can't get antibiotics, that means that they're gonna get sick and die. And not only that, but if you keep doing it to them, then you'll make it so that there's antibiotic resistant bugs and bacteria in San Francisco, which means they're breeding super virus because they don't like it when people talk. So they're taking drugs that you can pass through the air with marijuana, and that you can inhale it and make you sick. And and then it's trimethoprim is the drug that would then make it so that you can stop being sickened with that. Those two jackasses have been following me around wherever I go. So those two idiots are sick with something. I don't know what it is. Anyway, the fucked up thing is that they're essentially breeding like antibiotic resistant drugs or antibiotic resistant virus that will make people sick that can be passed around by the air. And I found that they use preschool students to do it, like elementary school kids. So I've been like sickened around elementary schools with this, and it's cured by antibiotics. So one of the things they'll do is they'll fuck up their kids to bad pot and like shit that can be passed in the air. Then they'll give them antibiotics and try and sicken the poor. That's why everything's abandoned and everyone here's an asshole. But yeah, the jackass that just walked past with the cigarette, he's involved in making me sick somehow that I don't understand.